Hey, welcome back to Adam Sam Radio. Hello, all you Adam heads. We're going to use the shortwave Patrolman SW-60, a trusty old radio. Stand by.
C'est en Chine qui contrôle ces médias. Donc une polarisation entre les États, puisqu'ils n'ont plus la même vision, en tout cas ils n'ont pas la même vision de ce que solar terrestrial indices for August 27th follow. Solar plus 128 and estimated planetary index 14. The estimated planetary index of 0 UTC on August 28th is blue. Space weather for the past 24 hours has been minor. Solar radiation storms reaching the S1 level occurred. Radio blackouts reaching the R1 level occurred. Space weather for the next 24 hours is predicted to be minor. Radio blackouts reaching the R1 level are likely.
Obrigado a vocês que ligaram seus rádios. Agora, sejam bem-vindas, sejam bem-vindos aqui, Nacional Brasília, M980, Rádio Nacional da Amazônia, ondas curtas 49,25.
Hijo, más. Mucho más parecida a la realidad de las diferentes familias que hoy habitamos la otra. Nelida Álvarez es la presidenta de la asociación en este territorio. Nosotros tenemos una tarea muy importante en estos momentos.
Escurece o relato de Luca.
Toda esta parte organizacional que ahora que las personas entiendan.
Basicamente, a teologia trinitária alterou o relato de Lucas?
Pelo menos a maneira como interpretamos. E neste caso, sim. Eu tenho aqui comigo o livro de Brown sob o título O Nascimento do Messias. Você poderia abrir onde está marcado com post-it e ler para nós? Nesse ponto, ele está explicando que a ideia de pré-existência é sobreposta ao relato de Lucas. I've got to come back. I've got more questions about the law that you outlined in your book, the law of power, the law of motivation. Let's come back next time and cover some of those to equip parents to do a better job. I can't. We all need it. We do look forward to hearing more from Dr. Henry Cloud next time as we hear about setting boundaries as a way of teaching children to be responsible adults in the future. His book, Boundaries with Kids, is full of practical, tangible ideas you can implement today to raise healthier children. It covers 10 different boundaries to consider and how you can successfully implement them in your home. I hope our listeners will stick with us because these lessons are invaluable to us as parents. There's no rule book when it comes to parenting, so we'll take all the help we can get. And you know what? It's not too late to implement these principles and boundaries into your home to help shape your children into the type of adults you hope they'll become someday. Responsible, driven, smart, accountable. Those are good qualities to aim for. We are here to partner with you, focus on the family on this journey of parenting that you're in. And we hope you'll take advantage of the valuable resources that are here. And again, the book that Dr. Cloud wrote with Dr. John Townsend is called Boundaries with Kids. And we'd like to make sure you get a copy, so please contact us today. And if you can, please make a monthly pledge to support the ministry of Focus on the Family. If you're not...
Así como en Escocia. El rey Shaw II gobernó por 25 años, hasta 1685. My mind about the
único em todo o universo.
But also the innocent books that those people owned. They tore that page away so that nobody could see the name of the film. And this is only an assumption I'm making, but it is worth considering. We also asked Sherman Marine about the fort in Ginebra.
Este vorba în primul rând de Gerardus de Fiederhofen, autor din secolul al XIV-lea, dar
First we have Gerardus de Fiederhofen, a 14th century author. His books were published in 1492 with a religious book entitled Quatuor Noissima. Then there is the second edition, the 1497 edition of Liber Chronicarum by Hermann Schedel. This could be described as an extensive encyclopedia, but also as a very interesting tourist guide. Schedel was, for the 15th century traveler, what Michelin is for us today. The third incunabulum is Pomponio Leto's work on the life of Marcus Antonius Coccus Sabellicus. He was born in Lazio region, and he also read the history of Venice.
And last but not least, we have a late edition of Gesta Romanorum, the famous work about the deeds of the Romans, published in 1497.
You are listening to Radio Romania International.
Next in this broadcast, it's all that jazz. Today with me, Cristina Madescu. Let's begin with a piece called Four Brothers, composed by Jimmy Jupra and performed by the vocal jazz quartet from Sibiu, led by Nicolae Ionescu, together with Mihai Belinde's band. The song was recorded in 1985 and was later included on an album called Fresh Sound, brought out by Elite Record 5 years later.
Cum ne place? Megamix.
Como está escrito, revela a identidade de Yahushua como filho de Iá, e que está ligada à sua concepção no ventre de Maria.
Impossible to listen to. I suspect it was going on for the entire 3-hour transmission, which makes 5-degree beam shifts at every hour break for no perceptible reason. During that 1-minute break off the air, the chirps are also off. Hey, is no one paying attention to their own broadcasts at Isodun, TDF, RFI, or MBR? Richard Langley recorded and is now archived the final 2 hours of Voice of Greece on shortwave, June 15th on 9420. And Christos Rigas in Chicago, who speaks Greek, listen to the content. He says after the news at 16 UT, the program Good Seas was played interviewing a retired ship captain who recounted during his 30 years as a sailor the broadcasts of VOG Captain Company at Sea. There are only mentions of Voice of Greece during the program, no mentions that that would be the last broadcast on shortwave. And Christos says, as for VOG returning to shortwave, as long as the new Democratic Party is in power, this will probably not happen. Same party that tried to dismantle ERT back in 2012, a decision that was overturned when they lost the elections in 2015. He says, I am afraid that by the time they lose the elections, if they do, the facilities at Aveda will be dismantled. Takahito Nakabayashi in Japan says the Japanese service called Friendship Radio of KTWR Guam has been off the air since July 10th due to trouble with their transmitter number 7, which has not been repaired. So during September on Sundays only, transmission is being moved to Tashkent, Uzbekistan on the same frequency and time, that is Sundays at 12:15 to 12:45 on 9380. This led to a discussion about KTWR transmitters, number 7, not at the same time. They only had 3 and now apparently only 2 in operable condition on Guam. By the way, KTWR has had some transmissions in DRM, I guess not this one, which led to a very interesting discussion in our group about the drawbacks of DRM. Wolfgang Bishop observes that since All India Radio no longer participates in HFCC, it carelessly conflicts with other broadcasters such as Saudi Arabia on 15285. As noted August 21st at 0529, Bengaluru, 4 hertz above 15285 in the Pashto service from 0430 to 06. But at the same time, from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia's Swahili service, 18 hertz above 15285. And another problem from All India Radio Bengaluru, 4 hertz above 15030, the Arabic service at 0523 with distorted audio. He says perhaps a very bad audio feed line from Delhi to Bangalore. The current schedule of All India Radio shows something strange on 594 kilohertz called the Moitree channel, M-O-I-T-R-E-E, at midnight 30 to 1830 UT with a 1 hour break at 09. What is this, I wonder? It must be on the megawatt transmitter at Chinsurah near Kolkata. Alokesh Gupta explains, Moitree is a Bengali word meaning friendship. The channel is a unique venture of All India Radio aimed at strengthening ties between India and Bangladesh. Its uniqueness lies in sharing content between Bangladesh Betar and Akashvani Maitri. It can also be spelled M-A-I-T-R-E-E. He says it aims to strengthen cultural, economic, political, and emotional bonding between the two neighbors in the Bengali language. Ron Howard in California says Voice of Indonesia has been silent through August 22nd. Very sad to find them absent from 3325 on their Independence Day, August 17th. In the absence of WTWW from 5830, I heard something else on frequency, or rather off the frequency, August 21st at midnight 51, via the remote in Maryland. JBA signal, not in English, and certainly not WTWW, measured on 5829.929. That would be Iran International TV, the UK-based clandestine, via Uzbekistan, which has a well-known track record of off-frequenciness. It's scheduled 24 hours, but it seems the changeover times between the two frequencies varies. Currently, says Ivo Ivanov, it's at 0330 to 1530 on 15629.8 variable, and from 1530 to 0330 on 5829.9 variable. By the way, it's the sibling station of Radio Afghanistan International I mentioned at the beginning. From Japan about North Korean abductions, Shokaze or sea breeze. Ron Howard says August 25th was the first day for a frequency change for the 13 to 14 UT broadcast. 5935, blocking reception from Tibet on parallel 6070 was fairly good. He says there really is no need now for periodic changes of frequencies, as North Korea stopped jamming Shokaze a while ago, perhaps in mid-May. Meanwhile, this means that Voice of Freedom Korea on 5920 is now in clear. As for the other clandestine from South to North Korea, Ron Howard says for the week of August 22nd to 28th, VOH is on 3985, 4880, 5995, 6245, 6350, and 9095, with weekday English language lesson at 1122. On the other one, VOP, Voice of People, has not changed since the week before. By the way, the English lessons from Echo of Hope are VOH on weekdays at 1125 to 1155 UT, have been based on readings of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Last week I filed under F for France, but this week under M for Monaco Non, about the reactivated long-wave 216 kHz of Radio Monte Carlo. Christian Guibault, the British DXing says there's a lot of talk about Roumur, the transmitter site in France. More broadcasts on 216 on August 21st, and local television report indicated that the towers are going to be destroyed. No explanation of why they're currently being transmitted, but it may have something to do with a couple of people who were arrested for climbing the towers to discourage any such further activity. On August 20th, Ron Howard notes Myanmar on 5915 until off at 14 UT. He says after many years of having China blocking them, it's wonderful to hear Myanmar with no interference. In the British DS Club, John Hode points out that Radio New Zealand Pacific has a new schedule on their website effective September 1st, showing DRM transmissions at the same time as AM transmissions, which must mean they're using two transmitters at once again. DRM is daily except Saturdays, 1651 to 1755, 6135 DRM, and 7425 AM, 1756 to 1955, 9655 DRM, and 9700 AM, and 1956 to 2058, 11690 DRM, and 11725 AM. The Media Magazine you monitor with your mind. World of Radio, 2153. Non-commercial service like our website, worldofradio.com. Financial support always appreciated by money order or check on a U.S. bank to Glenn Hauser, P.O. Box 1684, ENID, OK, 73702. Or by PayPal, not necessarily in U.S. funds, to WORADIO@yahoo.com. We feared that Voice of Nigeria was gone for good from shortwave, as it had not been heard since sometime in May or June, I think. But August 20th at 0626, I heard it again. I've been checking every night after 06 on 7255, so I'm sure that's the first date it was back on the air. Always off frequency, 7254.936, and household during that hour. And as before, it's rather sporadic. You can never be certain it'll be on the air or if it will stay on the air once it starts. And August 21st at 0647, it was obviously on, but broadcasting dead air. Their evening frequencies are supposed to be 11770 between 15 and 21, including English at 1630 to 1900, but not heard there. Instead, 7255 was again in use in the evening, as heard by Jorge Freitas in Brazil, August 24th from 1845. That was first reported on August 23rd by Joe Inott in southwestern Pennsylvania to Hardcore DX. English in progress at 1738, but off at 1808. Manuel Mendes in Spain was also hearing this, and I was listening via the remote in the Canary Islands, where it had a not very good signal and lots of storm noise. There was news in English about Nigeria at 1800, with a YL announcer I could understand better than the others later. Too much noise actually to get much out of it, but the Director General of NBC plugged the various platforms of VON at 1830. I'm not sure if he included shortwave. Anyhow, it chopped off air abruptly at 1846. Since Radio Rebelde Cuba was missing from 5025 August 20th until it came on at 1106. Ron Howard in California was pleased to be getting presumed Radio Kijawamba in Peru on 5025 from 1031. It was weak with a non-stop announcer and a few sound bites. He says, the first time I have heard this one. The Rusty X, the Russian pirate, Radio Piazzi Oglov for Pentagon, says in Telegram that they'll no longer be using 3940, nor their allied station Bukhti Svobodnych Volne. That's because the European broadcaster has been on 3940 since August 1st. Instead, they say they'll be down around 3 megahertz, but no frequency exactly known yet, and continuing on medium wave 1575. Via Rusty X, we have more reports, rather confusing, about the continuing litigation concerning Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, declaring bankruptcy in Russia. Wojciech Zarema in Poland reports a new frequency for the strange transmission known as Squeaky Wheel, 4612 USD, August 23rd at 2048. But on August 24th, we're back to the regular nighttime frequency, 3364. The ISHA Beerwith list shows two other frequencies for it, 3828 and 5473, with a location Rostov-on-Don in Russia. Zaharis Nagas in Greece says the Russia-Ukraine radio war is still going on, observed August 19th at 1826 on 7050, playing a Russian song mixed with other operators, and also on 7055 with some contacts. For some time, the 600 kilowatt USA GM relay on São Tomé, 1530 kilohertz, has been operating non-directionally. But now, Ben Dawson, consulting engineer, says some final testing is being performed, but it is returned to directional operation, and sends a pattern plot which I attempt to describe verbally. The major lobes are at 115 and 330 degrees, but there's broad coverage from northwest clockwise to southeast. The lulls are about 175 and 260 degrees, and there's a minor lobe off the back at 220. If they can get past WCKY, medium wave DXers in North America managed to pick this up best around sign on or sign off 03 and 22 UT with Yankee Duo. Spain's North American frequency 17855 had been missing since at least August 17th, but was back by the 22nd, including token English at 22 UT Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In the NASA flash sheet, Ralph S.W. Perry in Illinois says the voice of Thailand can provide a wonderful signal for the 12 to 12:30 UT English broadcast on 9390, as heard August 15th and 16th. It has news in English, commercials, and financial news. Voice of Turkey continues to be unpredictable on 9830 for English at 2200. Sometimes it's missing, sometimes it comes on late, and sometimes it stays on late with an extra half hour of German at 23 UT, which happened on August 24th. There's a new station in the UAE on 1476 kilohertz. Truck Boss reports to British Tennis Club it started test broadcasting August 17th. John Rhodes says it's Radio Kerala, K-E-R-A-L-A-M, with a good signal in the Canary Islands, ID in English at 2008. Greg Hardison in California was also hearing this August 25th at 17 to 1730 via a remote in Russia. Kai Ludwig has already published an article about this in German. From 2019 to 20, a program for migrants from Kerala was broadcast in the UAE on medium wave 1476. After a break of 2.5 years, there's now a new edition, Radio Kerala 1476. The idea is to reach the entire Gulf region on medium wave. The number of Malayalam-speaking migrants from southwest Indian Kerala state living there is estimated at 2.5 million. Many profess Islam, now under massive pressure in India. With its 200 kilowatts, one of the only two major transmitters worldwide on 1476, the other being TWR Benin, West Africa. Bill Harrison forwards an article from National Public Radio, which you might find of interest. It's dated August 19th at www.npr.org, headlined, Trump's VOA chief paid extravagantly to investigate critics, says Watchdog. World's Last Chance via WBC Q9330 is sometimes missing. Even on it may be off frequency. August 20th at 2210, I measured it 122 hertz high above 9330. Although WTWW2 continues with rock music and ham radio shows, it seems that WTWW number 1 has been missing lately with Jet. Not heard in the evening on 5830 and not even Sunday morning on 9475, August 21st. Ben Cobb of experimentalradio.news says about the WINB unknown signal on the lower half of its DRM. I was interested to hear a reference to WINB on the latest World of Radio. The mysterious data emissions were the subject of considerable discussion at this year's NASB conference in Washington. I don't know if anyone has publicly disclosed the content of this non-broadcast data, but the apparent connection between WINB and Parable Broadcasting is notable. Parable is one of the companies waiting for an FCC construction permit to build an international broadcast station. The principals of Parable hold executive positions at Ursa Navigation, URSA-NAV, a Loran company in Massachusetts, and at Tagence, T-A-G-E-N-C-E, an IT firm in Virginia. While its shortwave station would be in Illinois, Parable is based in Virginia. Ursa Nav was the co-applicant with Parable for a local permit to build a purported international Christian radio station in Kane County, Illinois. Ursa Nav is licensed for microwave station WRAL 663 at WINB's site in Red Lion, Pennsylvania. Independent consulting engineer Alex Pilosoff raised questions about WINB and Parable in an FCC filing. Excerpts. In 2018, WINB applied and received authority to broadcast DRM content specifying 10 kilohertz emission bandwidth an emission code of what means a single 10 kilohertz data channel. WINB did not disclose any transmission of private data in its application for DRM datacasting. In fact, WINB is transmitting standard DRM signals in the upper 5 kilohertz of its assigned spectrum and non-DRM digital data in the lower 5. Such transmissions are not permissible per FCC Rule Section 73.758, nor are they part of the DRM specification. Furthermore, WINB has self-confirmed that the lower 5 kilohertz is in fact a data stream. Philosoph wrote, it can be reasonably inferred to be experimentation of shortwave data transmission engineered by Ursa in order to be used by Parable. None of the Ursa and Parable principles have backgrounds in religious broadcasting or any broadcasting. As far as I could determine, Parable has no real evangelistic mission but will function as a private data link to overseas financial centers, end quote of Philosoph. And thanks to Ben Cobb for that. Radio Vanuatu's third harmonic 11835 still not being heard as of August 24th after 0600, but keep checking. Dan Robinson says first reports are disappointing about the Eton Elite satellite. As reported in comments at SW-60.com, it appears Eton will have to go back to the drawing board on the long-awaited Eton Elite satellite, which started shipping out recently. Here are some comments from SW-60.com. Universal Radio says our initial allocation of radios arrived on August 17th. Our quality control testing detected a problem with the radio. We're working closely with Eton to find a solution. We will begin shipping radios as soon as we are satisfied the radio fully meets specifications. SW-60.com says this is indeed disappointing for those of us on the original list to purchase the successor to the well-known E1, still in use by many around the world. As I signaled in a commentary some weeks ago, Eton faced a high bar, expectations of a very educated listening community that in recent years had grown to appreciate receivers by Texan and other manufacturers, with features such as recalibration and multiple bandwidths in AM and FSB modes. Unfortunately, Eton seems to have not done everything it should have to ensure QC. Now they have a PR black mark and potentially could face return of hundreds of radios. If the problems described by first users, such as lockup when the radio is in HD mode, loose telescopic antenna, are to be corrected, they will have to be corrected at the factory, and Eton has some work to do. Joe Hannon in New Jersey replies, yes, Eton's issues with this huge receiver are concerning. Is it worth spending all this money on a radio whose size may remind many long-time SWLs of the Panasonic R9000 from the 1980s? It's unfortunate they may take a financial hit on this receiver with the flaws that have developed from these production runs. And Rodney Johnson replies, it's also not selling for over $1, nor is it being test marketed in China, where the horror stories never quite make it past the border. Les Rayburn in Alabama tells WTFTA about his meteor scatter on the ground antenna, which he's calling an MOG. I've been experimenting with a new approach to meteor scatter DXing. I mounted an FM6 6-element Yuda Yagi antenna on the ground, pointing straight up. There are numerous goals, such as reducing the noise floor in my suburban neighborhood, since it's pointing towards the cold sky and away from man-made noise sources horizontally. It's been successful in this regard with a lower noise floor. Also to encourage reception of near vertical incident skywave, overcoming local terrain, filling in stations from Atlanta and Nashville, and also to increase success on meteor scatter in general, which has had only modest results with the same antenna mounted horizontally. Then he reports on the MS pings he's been getting and trying to identify when tuned to 94.7. Ken McHarg sent us a story from the blog at WordPress, Revisiting Radio History, dated August 20th, entitled A Timeline of Car Radio History, provoking a reply from Dr.